Hi guys! So it's been quite a long time since I did the garden tour. Last time I showed it to you was around May, I think, and it is now mid to late November. So I wanted to show you what my yard looks like, what has been new, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and we'll just take a quick look around and chat as well. So one of the biggest differences you will notice is this new addition of a path right here. You can see it's going from here to there. I'll show you some other morning shots that I have that are a little bit more beautiful, but I wanted to show you this shot because of the glorious colors, because everything is turning red and yellow and orange. And okay, so you can probably see a difference a little bit, and it's mostly this path right here that me and my mom have laid out around May when she was here. We placed them on the grass. We'll let the grass sort of die a little bit, like get yellowed out. Then we cut the grass around it, took out those pieces of grass, laid the stone down. We put some sand underneath, leveling sand, and just kind of made it level as much as we could. Level for my yard, I should say, not for the actual grade. So look at my beautiful salvias in the back. Beautiful salvia. And I think these are zinnias. I'm not even sure what that is. It came up from a seed somewhere. It's the only one, and it's ginormous, and I'm keeping it because butterflies land on it every day. Oh, this is Santa Barbara salvia. I'm going to replant it because I didn't know it's going to get that big. So to show you the embarrassing part right away, it's this whole area here. And as you know, I had so many different options here. I had flowers, all kinds of stuff. This whole section has been a struggle for me. Nothing wants to grow here, I'm assuming because it's a big Japanese maple on top of it. The ferns are doing great. But nothing else is really surviving. My lamb's ear is dying here for some reason, even though there has enough water and sun. So I'm putting this pot here, and maybe I'll put the succulents here because succulents seems to be doing great in this corner altogether. Interesting story. This guy was in the pot, and it was just one little tiny piece of succulents like this. And I put it in a pot, and it started growing, and then it went through the pot hole and rooted into the ground. So I basically broke the pot, released the root, and now this guy is taking over all of the planters. So I don't know what I'm going to end up doing. The Japanese maples in the fall don't look the best, in my personal opinion. They kind of get burned very quickly. Japanese maples look best here in spring. So my vegetable corner is doing pretty well, but all of the tomatoes started cracking because it's been a little too much rain and they're just not doing very well. So some of them are great, and I actually have been picking them and they've been pretty delicious. So this tomato is called Black Cherry, and it's been doing pretty good most of the summer. It's definitely coming to the end of it. I'm smashing the tomato. My beautiful cha-ching rose is looking amazing. It has become a very established shrub this year. Really sprawled out, and it's so gorgeous. I love it. This is my beautiful pomegranate tree that had not one flower and not one fruit. So we'll see how next year goes. Maybe I'll get something soon. Here I wanted to show you something that's been happening with us in our whole community, really, not just us, and that is called vole damage. So it's kind of like gopher. They get under plants, especially newly planted plants, and they eat the roots. And they just kill the whole plant, obviously, because they just eat the root. So at first we didn't even realize how big of a problem we're going to have with these voles. They kind of looked cute because they were like a little tiny hamster, almost like a little field mouse. So they're small and chunky. They almost don't have any tail. They're kind of cutesy almost when you actually see them. And they didn't want to get to the house at all. They didn't do anything with the house. They didn't seem to eat my vegetables or anything else. So I was kind of okay with them for a month or so. And then they took over and we realized that they were eating the roots of the plants. They did a ton of little holes, like the tunnels they do, under a lot of different plants, and they killed a bunch of my plants, unfortunately. So this little step structure that we have built, made our own way, kind of to create some steps to go up this hill, because it's been extremely hard to just walk up it, and we don't have any access to the top. So you can see some of them fall apart, and it's because those guys started digging under them, and they started separating because they would move out the dirt from underneath basically, and kind of, you can actually see like this one's coming over the top. So they shifted the ground all underneath it, made it uneven. I'm sure it was also because we didn't level them absolutely professionally and properly, because we just kind of DIY'd it. But I think a big part of it was because of these voles. I think my yard looks quite beautiful. My beautiful lantana is gorgeous colors. My peach tree gave us a ton of peaches this year, this guy. I know everything is a little bit kind of muddy looking right now. It did rain yesterday a lot. But I have my beautiful fir tree, the first one in my yard. My lilac, another Japanese maple right here. My roses are on its last leg, honestly. One of the biggest changes that we've also made is me and my mom replanted our crepe myrtles that were right here before. And instead we planted grasses that are pretty small this year, just because we planted them late. So you can see one crepe myrtle right there and one right there. And I'm hopeful they'll grow a little bit taller and kind of give us a little bit more privacy from that neighbor. So that's that. My beautiful fountain probably will have to close for the season very soon. So this area used to look a little bit better in summer. I have a lot of flowers here that I had to pull out. And we had mums that were flowering the whole fall basically. But now everything is kind of out bloomed. I had a bunch of flowers right here that were eaten by the voles. Like I said, my roses are finishing up its blooming season, so I've been trimming them slowly, and they give me teeny tiny roses at this point. I do have the bottom of the pot looking pretty good though. And you guys, I have lemons. This is a Mayer lemon. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 lemons here in the pot. I'm very excited about it. It's kind of coming close to being ripe, I think. So I'm gonna get my first lemons this year. So my window pots have gone through a lot of changes in the season. I've already replanted a few different plants and flowers in there. So this is my kind of last fall look. Might have to take this guy out. It's a long story. I have the mums that I'm gonna plant in the ground once they're done blooming. And again, this all annuals, they're all finished up basically for the season too. I did take out pineapple mint. It did get a little scruffy and a little too long, so I pulled that out. So I wanted to show you this guy. Look at this. Do you see how tall this tree is? Look at that. It's almost half of this tree, you guys. Do you remember how me and Daryl planted it? This spring, I think, this February. We have planted this one when I was really sick. It's the mixture of different, it's a fruit salad. So it's a lot of different trees on one. And it has about tripled in size. I do know that when the winter is here, probably after January or something, or around January, I will have to really trim it down and train it, because we are planning on having it actually to be fruitful tree and not just a tree. So my plan is to really cut it down, probably to just barely any limbs at all, just so it fruits for us. Even though I do enjoy the shade that it will probably create, but it's kind of in front of the other tree, so I'm gonna basically train it into a real fruitful tree, and it will watch its growth throughout the year to make sure I get more fruit and less branching. So now this hill, we have planted some lantana, which is doing pretty good for the first year. Again, I didn't expect anything from it first year, but it is doing pretty well. It's starting to grow out. I'm hopeful that again, at some point, it will become like that. So they'll become like basically 2 times bigger, maybe even 3 times bigger. I tried putting in some succulents that I had left over. They got a little laggy, but I don't know, maybe I'll keep it, maybe not. And then at the top, I have planted California white sage right here, 2 shrubs. They're doing pretty good too. They're very young still. And because it's a local native plant, it's going to take a couple of years for it to establish and get big. And then I have some of the salvias up top as well, but you know, they're outbloomed already. The season is over. So now most of the changes this year have been on this side, besides the path on that side for my garden bed. I'll show you a little bit of the changes that we've done, but it's definitely a big difference here, I think, again, for a DIY project. And again, just to remind you, this is all DIY. This is done in a free time when we have planned something out, when we actually saved and purchased another plant or another project that we're doing. It's all done slowly. It will take forever for us to finish this side yard, but I'm very happy that we're moving somewhere with it. So first thing, we planted these 2 plum trees. And these 2 plum trees, I forgot the name. I'm going to put it here. It's a terribly long name. These are going to grow pretty tall, so I'm hopeful they'll reach 20 feet eventually, maybe by year 10 or something, and they will replace these absolutely terrible black locust trees that are they're just on its last leg, truly just really bad trees. They have little suckers popping up everywhere. It's so annoying. They're not great. Then on this side, my little sea of yellow flowers, I'll put the name in here as well, is already looking great. I'm very happy with the way this looks, and these gonna bloom all winter long into early spring, and then they stop blooming. Basically everything else starts blooming and they stop, which is very exciting. So our glorious red maples, I believe these are October Glory, and they look incredible. This guy is still kind of suffering. You can see we had some burn scars from last year even, and it hasn't recovered very well, so half of the tree is kind of dead. But we're not doing anything about it. You might notice that we have put bark down. One of the biggest changes that we had in our backyard this year was that we have put down, me and Daryl put down slabs and rows of cardboard all along here. I'll show you some pictures. Over this winter, we put it all down. We anchored them down with rocks or metal pins and stuff. It took us quite a few days to do it, but we did it in this past winter. And then we hired a company who shoots up compost and then bark on top. So we literally buried the topsoil that we used to have under about 10 inches of compost and about a few inches of bark on top of that. So you will see, you can actually see less rocks throughout our garden because of it. But I must say, what a difference it has made already in plants, especially in established trees. Every single tree enjoyed it. all the plantings that I've done before have done better in this season in spring, just because there was this extra layer of fluffy compost. And again, we suffocated all of the weeds, which is very exciting and really had to happen because we did not know how to deal with them. So the look on this side, again guys, I'm sorry everything is a little more scruffy because it did rain a lot. So we had these grasses that are kind of getting a little scruffy and they're kind of falling over. So I'll be trimming them very soon, probably closer to January, in a month or two. So I'm going to be cutting them down, and they kind of swallowed the roses right now after the rain, unfortunately. And plus, again, we were planting these two trees a couple of days ago, so we kind of walked around them and smushed them a bit too. But again, I don't care about that. It's just the grass. It'll come back next year. The reason why I got 2 plums is because I have this plum here that's doing amazing. This is about second year of its life in this spot, and I've planted it. It was smaller than this when I planted it originally. So you can see what a progress it has been done in about under 2 years, literally. So I have high hopes for these 2 plums because we need that shade. Lord knows we need it. So one of the other biggest changes you will notice is the inclusion of this area here. And we did this little flower bed right here. Me and my mom did it in May when we went out to get those slabs. So we made a little path in here. Again, this is not finished, even close to being finished. This is like in progress, I should say. But you might notice that it's slightly slanted. So when we were making it, we were trying to raise this part of the yard and slant it this way, because we do get a lot of standing water here in the winter, and it is problematic because you can see right there our garage entrance door is right there. And sometimes the water just literally rivers all the way that way. So we don't get flooded, but it comes very close. So we decided to angle here. We dug out a little trench right here that goes out behind the trash cans. And you can see we have our French drain in here, obviously. And then we did little paths to kind of go over it. And my plan was really to plant more grasses right here, kind of tall, middle-size grasses, but I didn't get a chance to do that yet. Not yet. And then at the beginning, we did this other garden bed here that goes into that drain, sort of self-made DIY drain that we made. And I've put some salvias here again. Sorry about the trash. And everything is at the end of the season, you guys. So you might notice everything's slightly dying. You'll also see my 2 big shrubs are missing. Those same yellow ones. Yeah, so they dried out in summer and completely died. So when we went to Michigan in July, like I told you, we spent almost a month there, and I had everything on drip system, but I'm assuming some things just did not handle that high of a heat as well. And we had like upward of 117 in here, which is terribly hot. So, and this side has very little water, while that side is super swampy. So the bottom line is they did not look great. So I let them live, and I tried watering them, overwatering, and they did not come back. So I pulled them out, and instead I planted these fringe flower loriportum, or whatever it's called. So they're gonna look very beautiful. I've also planted some surefire rose begonias in here, which were doing great the whole summer basically. And then I also got a camellia right here to go instead of this little tiny maple. This maple has been here for 2 years and it has 0 growth. 0. Not even an inch. I mean, I've been watching it like a hawk. It's in front of my office, so I look at it every day. It is not growing. So I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna replant it somewhere else, maybe above the ground more. I don't know what it doesn't like here, but the bottom line is it's been 2 years. It's coming out. And I'm gonna put a beautiful camellia here instead. This is the camellia that I'm going to be planting, which I'm very excited about. And it has already buds. So it's gonna go in there, and this one's coming out here. I do have one camellia here that is doing pretty well as well. This kind. Don't don't really see any buds, but oh, there's I guess one. Yeah, it's not gonna have a lot of buds this year. Again, it's doing okay. This is its second year, so I planted it last year. And here we also have voles. This is their latest eaten food of mine. I had beautiful 2 plants right here that are completely zero now to the ground, nothing. So that's about it, you guys. Just the biggest updates I wanted to share with you. I hope it was interesting for you, and let me know how you like my garden so far. Please don't tell me you don't like it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about that, because I'm doing my best with the limited budget, obviously, doing everything myself, or again, obviously with my husband or my mom when she comes and willing to help. And now we're gonna have a child in winter, spring, so I'm gonna have even less time potentially to work on it, but I'm excited where I'm heading with it, I guess. I wish it was, you know, more. Of course, don't we all wish for more? But again, I'm trying to stay humble and appreciate every little things that we've done and every item that we've planted, because again, there was nothing here besides the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, besides 7 trees, the big trees. There was no shrubs, there was no plants, zero, just dead. Everything was dead, and there was a one big dead tree. So I think we did a great job. Just giving myself some credit. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon again. Bye bye.